So let's talk about setting up a PA system. The entire process of setting up a PA system for volunteers and new sound tech members can be very intimidating and challenging as well. And so if you're volunteering at an event or you're a new sound tech member in your church or at an event and you find it really difficult, I've over the years developed a simple method for training others, as well as a method I've employed in my personal workflow, and it has proven to be one of the most useful and effective approach towards planning, understanding, and even troubleshooting a sound reinforcement system. So you may want to stick around for this one coming up. The system approach. So I find that it is most useful to divide all sound reinforcement system into three parts: inputs, processing, and output. Now, the reason for this is that it provides the best method for simplifying any sound reinforcement system, and it provides ease of understanding and less intimidation. If you can actually break any sound reinforcement system into three parts, then I think working from there upward would be a really nice approach towards setting it right, and you can do it all over and over again without having to feel intimidated about the entire process. And the beauty of the system approach is that it's completely scalable. In other words, any sound reinforcement system, from the biggest touring line array system to the medium-sized setup you have in churches, all the way to even a self-contained powered loudspeaker enclosure, they all make use of this system. So it's completely scalable and can be applied to any situation. Now, let's explore, beginning with input. By input, first of all, I mean sound sources that you need to reinforce. So with inputs, we have two types of inputs. We have acoustic inputs and electronic inputs. Acoustic input basically is anything that requires the use of a microphone, such as your vocals, acoustic drum kits, anything that produces sound but doesn't have a direct connection to the PA system. So to pick up the sound and reinforce it, you need a microphone for that. While for electronic inputs is the opposite, is any input source that has a built-in output connection, so you can connect it to the PA system either directly or through the use of a DI box. Now, moving on to processing. With processing, we have mixers, EQs, basically any form of signal processing like compressors, gates, and so on. This session is usually the most complex of all three sessions, and it can be anything from a small, maybe like 4-channel mixer enclosure, all the way to flagship digital consoles with lots of high-end digital plugins, and can be very complex in itself, but they all do the same thing: combine the inputs together and shape the tonality of the entire sound just to present a good or pleasant listening experience. And so depending on the requirements, the budget, and skill of the sound tech, processing can be very simple or really complex. By the way, if you're getting any form of value from the video so far, then a sub to the channel would be valuable. So the final session is outputs, and outputs consist of loudspeakers, headphones, recorders, and any form of output for your entire sound system. And with live sound or a PA system, the output usually is in form of a loudspeaker. So depending on your setup as well, you can have various speakers and subwoofers, as well as stage monitors for your musicians or for those who are actually speaking to hear themselves. We also have outputs in live sound in form of headphones and in-ear drivers. So if there is in-ear monitoring setup in place, then there's the headphones as well. Power amplifiers can also be thrown into output in a situation where passive loudspeakers are being used. Passive loudspeaker basically are loudspeakers that don't have any form of amplification built into them, and so with that you need an external power amplifiers to drive them. Now, while this system approach situation seems somewhat too basic and impractical to be applied, to a live sound situation. It actually creates a solid foundation that we can base all live sound or all sound reinforcement system upon. And so with the right cabling, accessories, and planning, you can actually, with this setup or with this layout of the system approach, create any sound reinforcement system of your choice. Let's take, for example, let's say we have a setup with a keyboard. I have a keyboard here and my voice, so a live sound situation involving me singing while playing the piano or the keyboard rather. And so for my inputs, I have acoustic inputs, which is my voice, and an electronic input, the keyboard. So I know I will need a microphone cable and an instrument cable to connect my keyboard to my processing unit. And for the processing, we have a mixer. So everything be plugged to the mixer, doing some basic mixing, EQing, and applying maybe effects to my voice and sending it to a loudspeaker, for example. We already have a PA system set up, just applying this simple approach. And so you can scale it to any level you like, depending on the purpose, depending on your audience, your venue, your input. So this video seeks to comb the surface of understanding the basics of setting up a sound reinforcement system, and I hope I've been able to deliver some form of value in that regard. If you'd like to see more content as well as detailed video explaining each individual session, then hit the subscribe button and the notification bell as well. Other than that, I'm Kelvin. Thank you for seeing this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. If you'd like to see my previous YouTube video on a budget USB audio interface that's built like a tank, click to watch this video right here.